All right, folks, we are live. I'm going to give it just a minute for people to start jumping on again. We're having so many technical problems, it's not even funny. But here we are, trying to get it all figured out. Some of you just saw what we just played on the Police State movie that's coming out, policestatefilm.net. You guys really need to go and watch that trailer and forward that to as many people as you possibly can. It needs to get out far and wide. A lot of us are already very aware of what's going on with the police state, but many of even conservatives, good-hearted Republicans, they don't understand what's happening because they're still watching Fox News, mainstream media, nightly news. Believe it or not, there's still a lot of people, a lot of Americans that are watching mainstream news, and a lot of these stories have been quieted, have been put out purposely because they don't want this information getting out. You guys think it's coincidence that all these things are happening? I'm sure you guys don't think it's coincidence. I surely don't. I saw a meme just the other day, and it had Epstein on the front, a picture of Epstein, and it said they will blow up the world before they let Epstein's list get out. That's just one little thing. That's just one little piece of information they don't want to get out. There's so much information. We're living in an information explosion era right now, and there's so much information that they absolutely do not want to get out. Appreciate everyone jumping on. Please let me know where you're coming from, what state you're watching from. Put that in the comments. I want to go over something with everybody. I want to clarify some things. First of all, we are so heavily censored right now. It's difficult to do lives. It's difficult to do posts. If you go on to America's Mom Facebook feed and look at some of her posts, they have limited us so badly, and we believe we know who the culprits are, and it's just a matter of time until certain ones are exposed for doing what they're doing. But it shouldn't come to any surprise either that a lot of these social media sites are run by three-letter agencies. They control it. So that's not a surprise either. They're heavily censoring us. I want to go over some things with you guys. I want to go through the timeline of events that happened, because we're talking about Police State. We're talking about Dinesh's new film, in which our story and many others are highlighted in this film, trying to get information out there and to expose what's happening in the United States, what was once a free country where we had freedom of speech, where we had freedom of association, where we could hang out with who we wanted to, where we could talk about what we wanted to talk about without fear of being shut down, censored, blocked, or even arrested and charged, as we're seeing happen over and over and over again. Here we are. It's happening. We're in this state. Share out to your family and friends. Don't think people already know. Share it out, policestatefilm.net. This information has to get out there. But I wanted to go over and just remind everybody, I can speak to our own personal testimony. We're also going to have people on in the near future who have gone through similar incidents, many of which were much worse than ours, with this police state regime, this tyranny that we're living under. But I can go over ours, and I want to remind people sort of a timeline of events that happened with our case. And just so you'll realize how pathetic these three-letter agencies, in coordination with secretaries of state, in coordination with local law enforcement, hopefully not our deputy sheriffs, sometimes. In our case, there really wasn't coordination with the deputies, with the sheriffs, even though our sheriff knew about it, and he should have been more present and much more involved with what happened. He wasn't. But these agencies, district attorneys' offices, state agencies, judicial, judges, secretaries of state, federal agencies, who the three-letter acronyms shall not be named, because of fear of getting cut down, censored, shut down, blocked, all the stuff that's happening to us. all these entities are working in coordination with each other. And that's what's frightening, is the control, the amount of control from a federal level to a state level to a county and city level to local levels. The amount of control is really, that's what we should be afraid of. We should never, ever be afraid of speaking out, of coming out and saying the right thing at the right time, of putting our content out there, of speaking our minds. They want us to be afraid of that. They want to shut you down, and they want people to truly believe that if I just am quiet and I just comply, it'll all go away. That's absolutely 100% not the case. It's something that Sharona said in this police state film that's coming out that's really impactful. If they came after me, they're coming after you. We're regular citizens. We were law-abiding citizens, and I'll go back just real quick and do a timeline. If anybody that's interested, share this out to people that may not know our story. I'm going to share a timeline, and there's also a lot of dissension and division within kind of our side of things, within the conservative movement. There are people, there are plants in the conservative movement who are trying to divide and separate good people, keep us out of the fight, discourage people that are in this fight. There are plants by the three-letter agencies that are trying to divide this movement. And so I wanted to get on here, I wanted to jump on, go through a timeline of events that happened with our case, just so people are aware, just as a reminder of what's happening with this police state as these things are coming up. Share it out. Go to policestatefilm.net. Send that to your family, friends. Post it on your social media. Information is power. Knowledge is power. People need to become aware of what's going on. Back in 2020, when we lived in Western Colorado, my wife, America's mom, Sharona Bishop, noticed that there were some irregularities, we'll say, in elections. Some things that didn't make sense in the election, local elections mainly. Things that didn't make sense. A team gathered. People gathered together. They said, hey, let's go canvass. Let's go door to door and see what we find. Long story short, a lot of concerns were found. Concerns with people voting that shouldn't have been voting, concerns with dead people voting, concerns with too many in a household voting, all that stuff. Those concerns were taken to what we thought at the time, what Sharona thought at the time, and those that were involved, just to the local officials, sheriff's office, district attorney, county commissioners. A meeting was scheduled, and what was thought to be just a local meeting to share some of these concerns, it turned out to be much bigger than that. This meeting was about the concerns that professionals had, not just regular Joe Schmoes like us that don't know anything. Professional people, data analysts, people that are in this field, they looked at this information, they looked at the data, and they said there's a big problem with Dominion voting machines. There's a big problem with what was called the trusted build. And so she took these concerns, and there were many others. It wasn't just her. Many others that had these concerns, including the clerk and recorder at that time in Mesa County, Colorado. Took those concerns to the local officials. Weren't trying to hide anything. She took concerns to the sheriff's department. She took concerns to the DA. She took these concerns to the county commissioners. A meeting was scheduled in which was just going to be the board of the county commissioners in Mesa County. A lot of other people showed up. There were state officials that showed up. There were federal officials that showed up. The meeting was broadcast on Zoom. There were the county commissioners were there. The local district attorney was there. All these things were happening in real time. It was a bit of a surprise for her and for others who thought, well, I'm just taking these concerns locally. But good that everyone's there, because we want to present some potential evidence that shows that elections aren't as secure as people think they are. That's all it was. It was an average citizen and others who said, hey, we've done the work. We've canvassed, we've gone door to door, we've looked at the data, we've sent it to professionals, and we just see some things that we're concerned about. And we believe that there's a potential here that elections aren't secure and that your vote isn't safe. So, taking these things to the local officials, you'd think at the time, at least, well, people are going to take it seriously, right? Um, People are going to be really concerned about this. They were concerned, all right, but they were concerned about the average citizen like Sharona and others who were bringing these concerns forward and going public about it. And I think they were really concerned about Sharona because she was so loud about it. And see, they don't really care too much about what you believe until you start talking about it. That's the problem. If you start talking about it, you share the information, and then you have an influence and you start to gain traction, being influential and sharing concerns through your freedom of speech, sharing concerns that perhaps elections aren't secure, which, as a reminder, all the way back to 2016, the Democrats were saying, and even before that, there's all kinds of videos of them saying that elections can be rigged, elections can be stolen. Remember, they accused DJT of that as well. So these aren't new things. What was new is the amount of traction that this had, especially at a local level, and the evidence and the professionals that were coming out saying, yeah, there's major concerns with these voting systems. That was what was new. So that's what happened, you guys. Before the FBI raided our house, those are the things that partook. But also there were other things going on too. There was us forming local nonprofit communities of parents, grandparents, community members who were concerned about what was going on in the schools. And this was during that time where they were trying to do these tyrannical policies on students and teachers and staff at these schools, making them mask up, shutting schools down, making them social distance. All these things were going on. And so school board members were getting upset. We had administrators calling three-letter agencies saying that it was during the time where they were accusing people like us who were speaking at school board meetings of being domestic terrorists. And so three-letter agencies were being called about this stuff. Those things were going on too. What's that called? It's called freedom of speech. It's called freedom of assembly. It's called gathering together and sharing concerns. It's called going to our elected officials and holding them accountable. So all that stuff was happening. Then on the fateful day of November 16th, 2021, I was actually in my basement at home in a work meeting on Zoom. And I worked for Colorado Judicial at the time. I've been in the law enforcement related field for many, many, many years. And I worked with Colorado Judicial. I hear this banging. It's like it sounds like a stomping upstairs. And I'm a little irritated because I'm in a live meeting. And it goes on for a few seconds, and I think maybe our boys are at home. We're homeschooling at the time. I knew Sharona was upstairs. She literally had a pie in the oven. She was going through some homeschool material with the boys, whatever they were doing. But I thought they were stomping or whatever. I go up to check, and I'm kind of irritated. And I kind of run upstairs, and as I'm going upstairs, you can see out in our front through these kind of transparent curtains. We had these curtains up, not blinds, but just curtains. And I could see outlines of people. There was lots of people out there. And it sort of hit me as I walked by. I didn't know for sure. All I heard was screaming. They were yelling at us it's apparently to open the door. It's so muffled you can't really hear what they're saying. But I was pretty sure at that time we had three-letter agencies and numerous law enforcement at our door screaming and banging. Walked by pretty quickly, walked by the front door for a second. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Do I open the door? I don't even know who's out there. As the man of the house, I'm thinking I need to protect our home. So, thoughts are going through my head. We'll just put it that way. This is all in a matter of seconds. I turn a corner, look in the hallway. I see Sharona is on the phone. She put the kids in the bedroom, trying to figure out what to do. She was calling our attorney. And so at that moment, I'm like, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Whatever's going on, it's going to be fine. So I start heading to the front door. To the best of our recollection, this is all under a minute. We are guessing it was around 45 seconds that all this happened when I started heading to the door. I'm about 8 to 10 feet from the front door when they used a forceful battering ram and opened our front door. Pieces went flying everywhere. Metal pieces from the door handle flew. I'm not sure how it missed me, but by the grace of God. because they broke that thing open as if we were, murderers, and they were on the hunt for the worst criminals, top 10 most dangerous people in the United States kind of thing. They busted it open. I put my hands kind of up like this, and I said, whoa, guys, hold on a second. What's going on here? Kind of calm down. What's happening? Trying to calm them down. They're yelling, get outside now, whatever they're yelling. It all gets a little bit, it's all a little bit muffled and foggy, because you're not, your sensors are high at this point. I'm still kind of in the black because I don't really know what's going on. They pull me outside. Our local police chief says something to the effect of, Neil, I don't know what's going on. I'm just here to assist. Something like that. As he's putting me in handcuffs. Sharona, as soon as they came in, they yanked the phone. Sharona's on the phone talking to an attorney. They yanked it out of her hands. She's getting pretty upset at this point, as you can imagine. I remember seeing our two boys on the doorstep. They had tears in their eyes. They were in shock, not knowing what's going on. And you guys didn't understand. I don't know if the street was blocked off that we were on, but there were vehicles parked, numerous vehicles, and there were law enforcement standing out on the street. Who knows why? I worked in criminal justice and judicial for years and years and years in my career. A couple of the people that were there knew me. No violent history, no criminal history, clean record. Sharona, no violent history, no criminal history, clean record. All they were there to get, all they had a warrant for, which we didn't know this because when Sharona initially demanded a copy of the warrant, the local investigator, Strewe is his name, I believe was his name, Strewe, said, I'll give it to you, something to the effect of, I'll give it to you when I'm ready, or I'll give it to you when I want to, or something like that. They had to go back out to a vehicle to get a copy of the warrant. She asked numerous times for their credentials, for their cards. They said, no, we don't give that information out. It was about a 3-hour ordeal. I will say that after about a minute or two, to the best of my recollection of me being handcuffed, they uncuffed me because I was illegally cuffed. I believe it was everything that was happening was unlawful in my estimation. A lot of it was even illegal, even with the tyrannical laws that they've passed nowadays. It was still illegal. They didn't have a warrant for me for any of my stuff. They had a warrant for Sharona's electronic devices. So to put this in perspective, all they would have to do is they could have sent 2 people out, knocked on the door, would have answered. They would have said, hey, we have a federal warrant for electronic devices, such and such, such and such. That would have been it. They could have peacefully come out and done it. They didn't do that, and as this police state film is pointing out, they're doing this to make a point that we're really under a regime here of tyranny, and it's a fear-based regime. And they did this to intimidate not just us. They did this to make a point. They wanted to shut us up, shut Sharona up, shut up America's mom and anybody that was involved with her, and they want to plant fear into the hearts and minds of the American people. That if you speak out, you could be next. That's what they're counting on. They don't want people to speak out. That's what they did with the J6 stuff. That's what they're doing with this police state stuff that they're pulling now. And I'm sure that they thought that they had sort of won, especially the local district attorney's office, who just handled this in such a pathetic way. For them, this was a kind of a vengeful thing because Sharona had been so outspoken about what was happening with elections, and she was really confronting their lackadaisical attitude about it with everybody in Mesa County, at least the officials in Mesa County. There's a ton of good people in Mesa County that still want these elections to be fixed and that saw the problems that Sharona saw. But they did this to shut up, to be vengeful, to be spiteful. The warrant that they had, that they justified raiding our house for, I don't know what it was, around 3 hours, we estimate, where they searched every nook and cranny of our house. Part of the time, we didn't know where our kids were. We didn't know who was with our kids. They had grabbed my 18-year-old daughter by the hoodie as she went downstairs. I think she went downstairs to get her phone or for something. One of the guy one of the FBI agents, 6'5", whatever, 250, whatever he was dragging her around by her hoodie up and down the stairs. And they have body cam footage of all this stuff. And you know who hasn't released it? All of them. None of them have released the body cam footage. None of them. And here we have, in which absolutely this body cam footage would have been showed in this Police State film had we had it. Attorneys have tried. We've tried. We've done numerous requests for it. They won't release it. They say they have 3 years to release it. I don't understand how all that works. Still don't have it for obvious reasons. It'll probably be one of those things that ends up getting lost and we never see it. Hopefully not, but we still need that footage, and we need pressure on these agencies to release it. But yeah, the 3 hours they spent in our home, having the audacity to sit down in there and almost pretend like they're there for a good cause, or they're on our side. It was really, really strange, odd things that happened that day. And again, some of it's foggy. It's hard to remember every single detail, but that's kind of the gist of it. When they were going to leave, I said, I can't shut and close the door. The door is broken. It's busted. It's ruined. There's no handle on it. I don't know what time it was. It was in the afternoon at some point. So I'm going to have to lock my door. I got to figure out a way to shut this door at night and keep it secure. I said, are you guys going to fix the door that you broke? And they said, there's an 800 number you can call for that. 800 number. Okay. So I called the 800 number. They never sent us a check for the door. They never fixed the door. I had to fix the door myself. And we had a local guy come and help us with that. That was really cool. What happened that day was just a small microcosm of what's happening in this country and really in this world. They're turning us into a fear-based society, that you don't question the narrative. Do not question the narrative, and if you do, this could happen to you. And that's the message that we want to keep shouting at everybody, is do not stand down. Do not be quiet. Use your First Amendment right. Use your right of association and of speech. Use your rights to speak your mind. It doesn't even matter if you're wrong. What if we were all wrong about the elections, and the elections are actually totally secure, and there's nothing to see here? It doesn't matter, even though we're not wrong about it. But it wouldn't matter. We still have the right to stand up and say what we believe is going on. You have the right to do it. And don't think, you guys, that if you stand down, if you comply, if you shrink away, that it's going to be fine, that it's going to go away. It's not going to go away. That's what they're counting on us doing. They're counting on us shrinking back. That's the last thing that we ought to do. And so through this series of events, we've learned so much. And this was, it's been almost 2 years. This was November 16th of 2021. We haven't gotten our stuff back yet either, by the way. No cell phone back, no computer back, no laptop, no desktop, that kind of thing. And they're still fidgeting with our devices. They have been locked into our devices for a long time. They've listened to phone calls. They've tapped our stuff. Part of the reason why we left that house was we didn't feel safe there anymore. I mean, who knows what other kind of things happened on that date. And one of these days we'll be able to talk about more, things a little bit more freely. But now that this is coming out, it just seemed like a good time to put out there to you guys, kind of as a reminder. Number one, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. The spirit of fear is not within our faith framework. It's just not there. And if we give in to the spirit of fear, then we're lacking faith. And so first and foremost, we have to step out in faith. Say, God, if you've called us to do this, if you've called us into action, if you have given me a responsibility to do something, then you're going to provide the ability to do it. You're going to work in and through me to accomplish what you've started. And that's where we're at now, kind of in a transition point, kind of coming up with this film being released, with us being censored so heavily, shutting down all of our social media, limiting it like you wouldn't believe. And again, we know the culprits. It's just a matter of time until we can actually do something about it. But the other side has an unlimited amount of money. And remember, you guys, that they infiltrate. They infiltrate the conservative movement. They infiltrate, and they're planting seeds right now. And they're using people that are deep in this fight to cast doubt in their minds. And if you guys have seen some of that division, it's sickening. It's sad. It's too bad that it's happening within this movement that should be very clear about what path we're heading. That we're fighting against darkness, not a left versus right, but a right versus wrong, a light versus dark, and we're fighting against that. We need to be as unified as we possibly can be through this. There's a lot of accusations going on within this movement that are too bad. Our goal is to try to unify. That's why I don't want to name names and bring people up. Just don't want to do it. Our goal is to complete that which God has called us to do, to unify as much as we can, and to lock arms with good people, with patriots, with people that want the light to shine, that want to uncover darkness, and that want the truth to prevail. That's what we're here to do. That's a little bit, a piece of our story that, has happened. We're not, as much as we move past it and we're not living in that, we're living in faith. We're living in joy. We are prospering spiritually. We are continuing to seek for what God has next for us in these next steps. But also, like I said, we're being heavily, heavily censored. And if you're wondering why, America's Mom hasn't been on live for a little while and not as much, it's because it's becoming more and more of a challenge to get some of these things done. But God's going to provide a way. And whatever the next steps are, he's going to open up those doors. And he's doing it right now. We want to spread positive energy, Christ-like life, light, and love to those that we're around and with. We're not going to give into the negativity. We're not going to start with the accusations. We're not going to go back and forth. We're not going to get into it. We're going to stay above the fray. We're going to stay above the target. We want to keep our eyes fixed on the light. That's where we want to be. And this is an opportunity right now with this film going out for everybody to at least share it. At least share it with family, friends, people that aren't as awake as you. Share this information out. Get it out there, because knowledge is power. People will start to see the truth. If we're lying, or if we're wrong about things like elections or about which way this country's heading, fine, let it be so. But if we were wrong, why would we be so heavily censored? Because lies expose themselves. The reason why they're censoring people like us and so many others who are deeply in this fight, I don't mean the fake ones who are just trying to make money off of the movement. People that are really in this fight, the reason why they're trying to censor them is because the truth has a way of striking a chord, and they don't want the truth to come out. And they're going to really try to censor this police state film as well. So get it out there, you guys. Stay tuned. Pray tuned. Keep your eyes single and your whole body full of light. Now is the time to get your house in order, first spiritually, but then also be ready for the mental and the physical battle that's coming. I would have a sense of preparedness physically if I were you, and let us know how we can help. Keep reaching out, and we'll keep fighting this battle together as we strive to become more and more closer to the truth, to uncovering the truth, to this battle being won. God's going to use us. He's going to win the battle, right? God's going to win the battle. Just like he won the battle against Goliath. But he used David to do it. And that's where we're at, you guys. If David had sat back in his recliner and waited, God would have used someone else. Let it be us. Let it be you. Let us unite together and fight this battle together, arm in arm. I come against and I pray against not just the spirit of fear, but the spirit of division that's out there. It's in our midst. It's within. And one day, again, we'll be able to talk about this stuff and share it more freely, but it's here. The spirit of division is here. It's in us. It's within us. And we need to stay above that and not give into it. If you hear negativity out there, if you hear division, get away from it. Step aside from it. Don't let the negative energy into your life right now, you guys. Things are too imminent. Things are too important right now than to give in to the petty stuff, especially the backstabbing and the accusations within our own movement. It's just silly. Get out of it. Spread the light. Spread life. Spread love. Spread policestatefilm.net, and do your part, whatever it may be. Ask the Lord, what is it? What is my part? What are you asking me to do in this battle? I'm asking him all the time, and I haven't completely found it. I'm not there. I haven't reached the pinnacle. This is a daily thing. Sometimes it's an hour by hour thing during the day. Like, Lord, what do you have us doing? What's your purpose for us? And let's go out and do it. And I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to shrink back in fear. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Let's move forward today in light, life, and love. Spread the positive energy. Spread the life of Christ every which way you can. Think about ways you can help your community, help your neighbors, help your family. Get out of the pessimistic way of thinking. There's a lot to be optimistic about as Christians, as believers, and as patriots. Let's do this together. You guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Pray tuned. Keep your eyes single and your whole body full of light. We'll see you soon.